Presley Gerber seemed bound for a good life. She was born into fame, money, and the legacy of a famous supermodel. But behind the glamorous red carpets and runways is a story of pain, defiance, and the search for who he was that made him careful with his life. Why did the son of Cindy Crawford, one of the world's most famous models, have to fight his own problems in the harsh light of fame? Stay tuned as we talk more about the terrible death of Presley Crawford, Cindy Crawford's son. A lot of stress is put on kids to grow up in the public eye. It was common for popular kids to be compared to other family members, and Presley was no different. Even though he had done well, Kaya's quick rise often seemed to overshadow him. Presley had a hard time because of these demands and the constant attention from the media. Kids whose parents are famous often have a hard time figuring out who they are, and Presley was no different. This made it hard for him to make his own way, because everyone was always looking at him. Be sure to check back as we talk about Presley Gerber's life and its sad events. Presley Walker Gerber was born in Brentwood, California, on July 2, 1999. His parents are Randa Gerber, a former model and successful businessman, and Cindy Crawford, one of the most famous supermodels of all time. As the oldest son of Randa Gerber and Cindy Crawford, Presley was quickly introduced to the worlds of money, style, and beauty. Because their mother was a model, his younger sister Kaya Gerber became famous right away in the modeling world. Presley himself tried his hand at modeling, being in well-known magazines and walking famous catwalks. He was great for the job because he looked good and had family ties in the business. Behind the camera though, Presley's problems were becoming clear. From the moment he was born, Presley's life was full of luck, chances, and fame. From the outside, Presley's early years looked picture perfect. But soon, the problems that come with growing up in a famous family will show that his life wasn't so perfect after all. What could be wrong with him? Let's find out. A lot of Elvis Presley's childhood was spent in Malibu, California, a rich and beautiful beach town. The Gerber family's fancy home with a view of the Pacific Ocean was a peaceful place to be away from the busyness of Hollywood. In interviews, Cindy and Randy often talked about how they try to give their kids a realistic childhood. Their children learned to work hard, were urged to follow their dreams, and were told how important family dinners were. People said that Presley was a friendly and outgoing boy who liked photography, fishing, and being outside. He was liked by many people at Malibu High School and did well in school. Presley also showed his artsy side by talking a lot about his love of photography on social media. His early Instagram photos showed that he loved taking pictures of Malibu's natural beauty, which suggested that he was thoughtful and reflective. Beginning in fashion, Presley's decision to become a model wasn't a surprise since he grew up in the fashion business. With his tall height, sharp cheekbones, and intense blue eyes, he looks a lot like his dramatic parents. IMG Models signed Presley. By the time he was in his late teens, they also had models for his sister and mother. Presley quickly made a name for himself in the business, walking the runways for well-known brands like Calvin Klein, Moschino, and Dolce & Gabbana. On occasion, he went with his sister Kaya to fancy picture shoots and advertising campaigns. The two were known as the Gen Z Crawford-Gerber pair, and they were praised for being undeniably beautiful and famous. While modeling brought Presley fame, it also taught him how the business works. Because fans and critics were watching and writing about every move he made, he had to be compared to Cindy and Kaya. Presley had both good and bad experiences with the attention she got from modeling. Cindy Crawford, Elvis Presley's mother, became famous in the late 1980s and early 1990s by being on many magazine covers, fashion shows, and ads. She became one of the first supermodels to become famous around the world, and is still seen as a cultural icon because of how skilled and beautiful she was. His father, Randa Gerber, quit modeling to become a businesswoman. He started the tequila company Casamigos with George Clooney. He grew up with his younger sister, Kaya Gerber, who was born in 2001. After getting her mother's good looks and natural modeling skills, Kaya quickly became a star in her own right. The Gerber family became a symbol of easy success because Cindy and Randa were often praised for their stable marriage and ability to balance being famous with family life. A young Presley saw his parents' jobs and learned about the money and fame that came with them. As a child, he went on expensive trips, went to parties where only invited guests could attend, and met important people. But even with these benefits, Presley would finally feel a lot of pressure to live up to the reputation of his family. But what part did his family play in how things turned out for him? Keep listening to find out. Cindy and Randy seemed to be close with their family, and were interested in what their kids were doing. In conversations, Cindy talked about how she and Randy tried to keep Kaya and Presley safe from the risks of being famous. She often told stories about the things their family did, like playing board games and having pizza nights at home. Presley himself often showed how much he loved his parents by writing them sweet messages on social media on their birthdays or holidays. His friendship with Kaya was also very strong. The two brothers often did things together and supported each other's goals. But behind the flashy family photos and public roles, Presley began to have identity problems. Growing up in the same neighborhood as Kaya's quick rise to fame and Cindy's huge success probably made him feel like he wasn't good enough. Getting around was hard for Presley because he was a famous person. Living in the sun was especially hard for him. Even though his family was kind and supportive, it was hard to escape being compared to his mother and sister all the time and being watched closely on social media. From a very young age, Presley was aware of the expectations that were put on him. Anyone who knew him, whether he was modeling or living his own life, was always keeping a close eye on him. There was a lot of pressure to keep up a good public image while going through the tough parts of puberty. Looking back, Presley's formative years helped him get ready for the problems he would face as an adult. Even though he seemed to have had a perfect childhood, the complicated way he was raised showed the bad sides of wealth and fame. All of these turned against him. Come with me as we look at some of his problems. As Presley got older, he started to show small signs of inner struggle. In public, he often seemed calm and sure of himself, but sometimes his social media posts hinted at stronger emotions. He shared mysterious words and pictures that made you think that hinted at a deeper side of himself. Even though he was successful, Presley faced some unique problems when he first started working as a model. Presley seemed to be modeling out of job rather than interest, while Kaya seemed to be enjoying the opportunity. By the time Presley was in his early 20s, his supposedly perfect life began to fall apart. When Presley Gerber first started working as a model, he had a clean, fresh face that made him look a lot like his famous mother. He also didn't have many scars. By 2020, the young model had bright tattoos on her arms, chest and neck. Big tattoos are usually not allowed in the modeling business, but one especially shocking tattoo made a stir on social media. In 2020, Presley became famous after showing off the controversial tattoo on his face. Under his right eye, the word "misunderstood" was written in full. Fans and reviewers were both shocked by this choice, and a lot of them wondered if he was crazy. During an Instagram live video, Presley explained his choice by saying that the tattoo showed how he felt about his life and how other people saw him. He said, "I wouldn't have done this if I didn't want to, or if I thought it would hurt my face." In a real way, the tattoo became a symbol of his inner struggle and his fight for acceptance and understanding. His choices, like the controversial and misunderstood face tattoo and his run-ins with the law, showed that he was having a hard time finding out who he was. Presley's problems started to show up in his public life. He was caught driving under the influence DUI in 2019. His acts caused stress, and the event got a lot of attention from the media. This event seemed to be a turning point in Presley's life. The show made it clear that he was having problems behind the scenes, even though his parents were there for him. It was a sobering warning that fame or money can keep someone from having to deal with the consequences of their actions. Presley's actions were caused by a more important issue, his mental health. Even though he hasn't talked much about them, it's clear that Presley has had problems with loneliness, misunderstandings, and maybe even sadness. Having to live up to his family's image, and being watched on social media, must have made these worries even worse. People with mental health problems are often looked down upon in the world of heroes, where being open and vulnerable can be seen as weak. He had problems, but he also had a very interesting and private life. Let's look into it. Presley Gerber, Cindy Crawford's son, is dating model Lexi Wood right now. It became known that they were dating when they made it official on Instagram in late 2024. Presley showed his happiness by sharing touching photos and videos of the pair together. He called Lexi the person that makes me the happiest I've ever been. In response, Lexi wrote about how much she loved him on social media. They met through common friends many years ago, and their relationship grew quickly. It had only been a little over a year when Gerber made their romance public on Instagram, making it look like he had proposed. For a set of pictures of the two of them, the model wrote, "Guys, I did it." In one picture, the pair was kissing on the sand while using a heart, an infinity sign, and a lock and key. Presley said that he had been interested in Lexi ever since they met. Within a week of their first meeting, he suggested that they take their relationship to the next level. Since then, they've gone to events together, like the Casamigos Halloween party, where they planned costumes and told their families about each other. Even though they aren't engaged yet, they have talked about moving in together and getting married in the future. In public, Presley has said that Lexi is his favorite person, and their relationship has been called natural and deeply loving. Wood shared the post again on her Instagram stories. The couple announced their breakup all of a sudden, less than a month after fans were happy for them. Says they broke up and deleted all of their Instagram content about each other. News. A person close to Wood said that Lexi was ready to move on, even though she had been seen with Gerber a week before they broke up. It must have been terrible for Cindy Crawford and Randa Gerber to see their kids go through this. As parents, they have said they will always be there for Presley, but it is very painful to see a loved one in pain. Cindy, who is known for being calm and classy, has mostly kept quiet about Presley's problems so that she can help him behind the scenes. Randa has also talked about how important family and being together during hard times are. But the place on social media has been even more important in all of this. Do you want to know how? Let's find out. Presley's story isn't just about his own tragedy. It's also about bigger problems in society. People like Presley have a hard time because of the expectations set by social media, the entertainment business, and the stigma surrounding mental health. It's easy to judge someone from afar, especially if they grew up with a lot of money. Although Presley's life was hard, it shows that fame and money are not the same thing as happiness. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic position is, everyone needs to be accepted, understood, and connected. While she was away from modeling, Gerber started a project to help people find good ways to deal with stress and raise awareness about mental health. On his Instagram page, he started a series called Mental Health Mondays, in which he talked about ways to improve mental health. The model says that he thinks the weekly shows will make people more likely to get help. Presley Gerber has been in the news a lot for years, so he knows what it's like to be hated. In 2023, when Gerber was older and had more life experience, he talked about how the abuse on social media had hurt his mental health. "One comment took away from my whole day, and I now know how to stop letting the energy of those keyboard fighters bother me." He told his Instagram fans how to handle the social media storm in the second episode of his Mental Health Mondays series. You need to be able to stop that energy from getting through. In addition to telling people to spend less time on social media, Gerber said that he has dealt with bad comments himself. If social media use gets too much at any time, it's okay to take a break. Gerber also told his fans to start acting in healthy ways and to talk to their friends if the hate on social media got too much for them. He said that everyone is going in the same direction and that he still has more to learn. How is he doing right now? Gerber, who was older, thought about the mistakes he had made in the past and talked freely about his mental health problems. Looking into mental health and the people who work in the field because I think it's important. So for me, struggling with mental health anxiety and some other challenges that come with that, I believe that whether I help one person or 100 people come out of that place that I was in at one point in my life, that's all I need to do. He said in a rare interview with the Studio 22 podcast in 2023. People have said bad things about Gerber's past tricks, but he thinks he had to learn from them and hopefully teach others these lessons. Maybe I can help other people understand those mistakes better so they don't have to make the same ones I did. Even though things have been hard, Presley's story is far from over. He has shown that he is determined to deal with his problems head-on. Some of his recent appearances and social media posts have talked about his desire to grow as a person. He has hope for a better future because his family is there for him and he is determined. Presley's story shows how important it is to put your mental health first, be open about your feelings, and get help when you need it. In August 2024, Gerber shared shocking information about his personal problems on his Instagram stories. In a message to his fans, Gerber said that he was getting help for his problem and talked about his struggles. "My opioid abuse is very bad right now, and I've been on and off of them for years." Gerber then told his fans that he was about to start therapy with ibogaine, a psychedelic drug that is used to treat addiction and PTSD. He said he felt more scared as the date of his rehab got closer. In spite of the somber tone of the talk, and his worry about therapy, Gerber sounded refreshed and determined to get clean. "Everyone needs to be held responsible in this case, so I'm telling everyone." This open moment seemed like a full circle moment for the child who had said he felt misread. The sad story of Presley Gerber is a powerful lesson of how hard it is to be famous and how important it is to teach people about mental health. His troubles teach us how important it is to care about other people as well as ourselves. People need to stop judging and start knowing each other. We can make it easier for people like Presley to deal with their problems by getting rid of mental health stigmas and supporting open communication about it. Presley Gerber's early years were full of chances, love, and comfort, but they were also weighed down by public scrutiny and high standards. There were great things about growing up in a famous family, but there were also some hard times. Presley's journey from a carefree Malibu youth to the challenges of adulthood shows how hard it can be to find a balance between wealth and personal identity. The problems Presley had are a warning that growing up is hard for everyone, especially in terms of the help he had access to. Elvis Presley's early years are a moving reminder that even the best upbringings come with their own problems. They continue to show him how to manage life. Even though his story is far from over, the lessons he learned as a child teach us a lot about how fame, family, and self-discovery can change people. The show made it clear that he was having problems behind the scenes, even though his parents were there for him. It was a sobering warning that fame or money can keep someone from having to deal with the consequences of their actions. Presley's actions were caused by a more important issue, his mental health. Even though he hasn't talked much about them, it's clear that Presley has had problems with loneliness, misunderstandings, and maybe even sadness. Having to live up to his family's image and being watched on social media must have made these worries even worse. People with mental health problems are often looked down upon in the world of heroes, where being open and vulnerable can be seen as weak. He had problems, but he also had a very interesting and private life. Let's look into it. Presley Gerber, Cindy Crawford's son, is dating model Lexi Wood right now. It became known that they were dating when they made it official on Instagram in late 2024. Presley showed his happiness by sharing touching photos and videos of the pair together. He called Lexi the person that makes me the happiest I've ever been. In response, Lexi wrote about how much she loved him on social media. They met through common friends many years ago, and their relationship grew quickly. It had only been a little over a year when Gerber made their romance public on Instagram, making it look like he had proposed. For a set of pictures of the two of them, the model wrote, "Guys, I did it." In one picture, the pair was kissing on the sand while using a heart, an infinity sign, and a lock and key. Presley said that he had been interested in Lexi ever since they met. Within a week of their first meeting, he suggested that they take their relationship to the next level. Since then, they've gone to events together, like the Casamigos Halloween party, where they planned costumes and told their families about each other. Even though they aren't engaged yet, they have talked about moving in together and getting married in the future. In public, Presley has said that Lexi is his favorite person, and their relationship has been called natural and deeply loving. Wood shared the post again on her Instagram stories. The couple announced their breakup all of a sudden, less than a month after fans were happy for them. Their Instagram posts about each other were taken down after they broke up, according to E! A person close to Wood said that Lexi was ready to move on, even though she had been seen with Gerber a week before they broke up.